Hi y'all, this is Eleni Brooks. I'm a realtor here in the Houston, Texas area, and today I want to go over a high-level overview of what the buying process looks like. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail because there's so many moving parts to the buying process. If I did that, it would take hours, so I'm not even going to go in depth. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing you want to do when you even have a sparkle of an idea that you want to buy a house is reach out to a lender. Reach out to more than one lender. Find a lender that has a communication style that you're comfortable with. So, they're going to ask for a lot of information from you, and you're going to have a lot of questions from them, and you just want to make sure you're always on the same page. So, you're going to do that, and you're going to get pre approved. If you don't have a lender, reach out to me. I have a lot of lenders that I work with. I love them. I've done transactions with them. They're amazing. Then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to go out and you're going to interview realtors. Buying a home is a very intimate process. So please interview a few realtors and find the one you love. So once you find your realtor, you're going to do a buyer consultation with them where they're going to do what I'm doing with you today, but they're going to do it a lot more in depth. And they're going to go over exactly what your specific buying process is going to look like for you. So you're going to pass all that, and then I'm going to say, okay, we're done with all the preliminary stuff, and now we're going to go out and we're going to go house hunting. And this could take one day, and it could take 30 days, it could take 3 months. Don't be scared if the first house you look at is the one you love. If you find a house you love, go for it, please. Then you're going to come to me and you're going to say, hey, Lenny, I really love this house. I want to make an offer. What do we do? And I'm going to put all the paperwork together, and I'm going to include that pre-approval letter because you have to have that in order to submit an offer. I'm going to submit the offer to the listing agent, and they're either going to accept our offer, reject our offer, or counter offer our offer. And we might have to do a little bit of negotiating. And then once everybody agrees on it and everybody signs off on the paperwork, then we're going to be considered what's called executed. Once we execute a contract, that's going to literally throw us into the option period, which is something we negotiate in the offer. The option period is going to be 7 to 10 days, and it's going to be between $200 and $300, somewhere around there. And once we start that option period, as soon as we're executed, I'm going to come to you and say, I need 2 checks. I need your option check, and I need your earnest money check. Your earnest money is going to be around 1% of the sales price of the home, and that goes towards your deposit and your closing costs when we get to the closing table. So I have to get those from you, and I have to deliver them within 3 days. And then during our option period, we're going to do a couple of things. We're going to get our inspections, and we can do a couple of inspections. We're always going to do a general inspection, and we might do a termite inspection, a sprinkler inspection, a pool inspection. It just depends on what the house has. And so in this option period, all of these costs, the inspections that we're paying for, are all going to be the buyer cost. So that's going to be money out of your pocket up front. There's a couple of things that you pay for during the process, and I'll kind of recap everything at the end. So also, once we execute a contract, the typical buying process takes 30 to 35 days. From the day that we execute to the day that you get to the closing table, usually takes 30 to 35 days. It could take less, it could take more, depends on all the moving parts I talked about earlier. And so once we do all of our inspections during the option period, we're going to get back the inspection reports, and we're going to say, okay, there's a lot of stuff wrong with it, and we want to ask for some repairs, or we want to ask for some money off the price, or we want to ask for money towards closing costs. There's a couple of things we can do, and we renegotiate at that point again. We have to do all of this before the option period ends. Your option period literally means it gives you the option to back out for any reason. Once you pass that option period, you can no longer back out for any reason, and you might lose your earnest money. So we want to renegotiate everything with the seller and get everything signed off on by 5 p.m. on the last day of option period. And then once we pass the option period, then your lender's going to want to do what's called an appraisal. That's where they go out and they investigate the value of the home and make sure the value of the home meets the loan value that they're giving you. If it comes in below loan value, that's a little hiccup, and then we got to work some things out, renegotiate, do some things with the seller, and figure out how to move forward. The appraisal is also the buyer's cost. They will usually call you and just get a credit card over the phone. Then we're going to pass the appraisal, and there's another piece called a survey that sometimes is given to us by the seller, sometimes it's bought by the seller, sometimes it's bought by the buyer, but no matter who's going to buy it, it has to be done, it has to be submitted, it goes to the title company, and it has to be approved by the lender and the title company. So we, somewhere in this process after option period, we order the survey if we don't already have one. So now we've done our option period, we have our appraisal done, we have our survey submitted. The last part of it is we wait for the final loan approval. Once we get the final loan approval, we get what's called the clear to close. And that just is the final stretch. You sit back and you wait for closing day. As closing day approaches, what I do is I scheduled what's called a final walkthrough with you. And it's usually done like the morning of or the day before closing, where we go in and we make sure the home is in the same condition as when we went in and we made the offer, plus all the repairs that we might have asked for. So we want to make sure all of that is done. And sometimes we might have to do a re-inspection just on the parts that we asked to negotiate to repair, because you want to make sure that they've done it. And it might be somewhere where we can't access, we can't see, or we don't have the skill set to determine if they've, upgraded electrical parts. So once we go through the final walkthrough and you're happy with the house and all the repairs, then we go to closing. Be prepared. Closing takes 45 minutes to an hour, and make sure you have your signature hand strong because you sign a lot of paperwork. We go to closing, you fill out all your paperwork, and then the lender has to fund the loan. Once the lender funds the loan, you're a happy homeowner. Then you get the keys and you get to go to your new home. That is the process in a nutshell. There's, as you can see, there's a lot of moving parts, and that's my job to manage all of that for you. Obviously, you don't have to worry about what's behind the scenes. All you have to worry about is what I give you and what I ask you for. When you're buying a home, there's kind of 3 parallel lines that go through it. You have the lender working up here, you have the title company working down here, and then you have what you see with me going through the middle. And I kind of tie everything together for you. And so really what you want to know is that when you're buying, all of your upfront costs, let me recap everything I kind of went through, is you're going to need an option check, you're going to need an earnest money check, you're going to pay for your inspections, you're going to pay for your appraisal, and you might pay for a survey. So there's kind of 5 things up front that you have to pay out of pocket before we get to the closing table, and you have to bring your closing funds. So I think that covers it all. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments, or you can call me 281-818-2698. And if you have any topics you'd like me to cover next week, just put them in the comments and I'll be sure to get them covered for you. All right. Happy house hunting. Have a good day. Thanks.